Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Since his introduction, Shanks has always carried an air of mystery. Among the Yonko, he is the most reserved. He's the only one who, despite having power and influence comparable to the others, maintains a diplomatic stance and has unrestricted access to the world government. That alone raises suspicions. But there's one detail many have ignored or simply underestimated: the mark of the abyss that appears on Shanks. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. In a specific moment in One Piece, when Shanks shows up to speak with the Gorosei, a small shadow on his cloak reveals an unusual Mark 1 that resembles the symbol associated with the empty throne and emu. Some fans dismissed it as a mere stylistic coincidence, but what if that mark is a sign of something much greater? What if Shanks, Roger's apprentice, was actually the silent traitor planted to ensure the Void Century would never be fully revealed? To understand this, we need to go back to Gold D. Roger's final journey. When Roger returned from Laugh-Tale after sailing around the world, his crew was marked by both laughter and frustration. They had uncovered the truth about the Void Century, about Joy Boy, about the poneglyphs. But what Roger saw also made him realize they were too early. The true mission would have to be completed by someone in the future. And this is the moment where Shanks may have changed completely. Shanks' reaction after Roger's final voyage was never fully shown. We only know that he cried heavily after speaking with the captain, but the reason for those tears remains unknown. Some believe it was sadness over the end of the journey. Others say it was disappointment. But there's a third possibility: guilt. What if, after hearing the truth, Shanks realized that the knowledge Roger had uncovered was too dangerous? Or worse, what if he had already been connected to Imu and the world government from the start, and that truth forced him to make a tragic decision? The mark of the abyss isn't just a random symbol. It appears in silhouettes associated with Imu and the empty throne. That symbol represents absolute authority and control over history, precisely what the world government aims to preserve by hiding the Void Century. The fact that Shanks sat before the Gorosei and was treated with such respect would already be shocking. But he wasn't there as an enemy or even a negotiator. He was calm, as if he had known the rules of this world far longer than he lets on. Another piece falls into place. Shanks is treated as an exception in every sphere. The Yonko are monitored, hunted, and watched, except for him. The Marines avoid direct conflict with him, even when he ends entire wars like at Marineford. When he showed up to stop the war between Whitebeard and the government, no one stopped him. Sengoku accepted his proposal like he was a higher authority. Why? Because maybe he is. The most shocking theory is that Shanks betrayed Roger at the end of their journey. Not directly, not through a fight or confrontation, but ideologically. While Roger accepted his illness and embraced his fate, Shanks chose to protect the balance of the world, not its freedom. Maybe Imu approached him after the journey ended, or maybe it happened before. Maybe he was a chosen one from a young age. After all, we don't know where Shanks really came from, and that's another point that's never been explained. Going back to the empty throne, the one supposedly occupied by no one, we clearly see that Imu secretly sits on it, ruling the world from the shadows. Shanks, as the bearer of the Mark of the Abyss, may have access to that place, or perhaps as one of its hidden guardians. His status as an untouchable pirate, his diplomatic immunity, his deep knowledge of Joy Boy and Luffy, it all suggests he's not playing the same game as the other Yonko. Luffy is the opposite of Imu. He represents absolute freedom, and to keep the world the way it is, someone must ensure that Joy Boy never fully awakens. Maybe Shanks has been trying to prevent Luffy from going too far, like when he got involved in the Wano situation, observing from a distance. Maybe his mission is to make sure Joy Boy never completes what he started 800 years ago. Shanks has always been seen as Luffy's guardian. He was the one who inspired Luffy to become a pirate. But think about it. What did he really give Luffy? A mission? A legacy? Or just a guided path? He handed Luffy the straw hat, the same one Roger wore. But we know Roger received that hat from Joy Boy. So the straw hat is a symbol of inherited will of rebellion against the world government. Shanks giving it away might seem noble, but what if it was just a way to guide Luffy, to control the steps of the new Joy Boy, ensuring he only goes as far as convenient? The act of giving the straw hat to Luffy, for example, can be seen more as a strategic move than a gesture of unconditional trust. If we consider Roger's story and the symbolism of the hat, we know it represents resistance, a legacy that traces back to the time of Joy Boy. However, when Shanks gives it to Luffy, he's not simply passing the mantle of hero to the next leader of freedom, he may be consciously or not, handing over a key that could unlock a Pandora's box, with consequences that might threaten the stability of the world as he knows it. And that stability, it seems, is something Shanks values more than any other Yonko. The fact that he can move freely among the highest ranks of the world government without any form of retaliation or attempt to capture him is an anomaly. The fear he inspires isn't just because of his combat power, it's the fact that he seems to understand the political game so well that his presence is more accepted than challenged. But it's within this political game that the most intriguing question arises. Is Shanks actually a player trying to balance forces far greater than what he can control directly? Throughout the series, he comes across as a third path, not as radical as the other Yonko, but not fully submissive to the world government either. He knows what's at stake, yet his methods and intentions remain elusive. Perhaps what he fears more than anything is the full awakening of Joy Boy, an awakening that could mean not just the fall of the world government, but also the collapse of all the power structures he himself helps to preserve. And that might even unleash global catastrophe. This drives him to act from the shadows, manipulating and subtly influencing events, possibly believing that by stopping Luffy from reaching his full potential, he is, in a way, protecting the world. But that vision may be just as distorted as the belief that maintaining the status quo is truly the best option. After all, the world government is an oppressive force, and Luffy's rise could be the key to liberating a world that has lived under lies for millennia. But what really goes on inside Shanks' mind? Maybe he sees in Luffy not just the spark of revolution, but also the promise of a world that might not be as easy to rebuild as everyone hopes. Maybe Shanks knows that instead of helping Luffy bring down the system, he might be the one who needs to hold the reins of fate to make sure the new world doesn't fall into irreversible chaos. What if he's simply trying to choose the lesser evil? In the end, Shanks might not be a villain nor a hero. He could be the keeper of a secret so enormous that, if revealed, it would destroy everything he knows and maybe even his own identity. Perhaps he made a pact with the truth of the Void Century, and his role is to ensure that the future is written in a way that preserves what little order remains, even if it means sacrificing the freedom of an entire world. Maybe he chose to protect balance instead of freedom, because he understands that when unchecked, freedom can be the most dangerous weapon. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.